Right now on the Valley today, a rescue came too late. A Minnesota teacher dies in a Brainerd area lake during a class retreat. Plus, police in the Twin Cities are looking for someone who shot a man near the Minnesota State Fairgrounds.
Also on the Valley today, too hot for school districts. Officials in the Northern Valley are shutting things down for the day to keep kids from roasting at their desks. So you can only assume we're talking a warm start for school for most Minnesota students. Lisa Green has your bus stop forecast on this Tuesday, September 6, 2022. Good morning, everybody. The Valley Today starts right now.
This is the Valley Today.
New this morning, a Hutchinson, Minnesota man is dead of an apparent drowning at a youth camp in Brainerd.
The Crow Wing County Sheriff's Office says the 30-year-old man was a staff member at Maplewood Academy and was on a retreat at North Star Camp with a group of students when he passed away. Deputies responded to the camp just after 1:30 yesterday afternoon on reports of a man who had gone underwater. A student with the group was able to pull him from the water, but life-saving attempts did not work.
The group that runs the camp says that counseling services will now be provided for the students and staff in the coming days at that academy. Also new this morning, another shooting near the Minnesota State Fair. An 18-year-old man was shot in the stomach near the fairgrounds last night. Police are still looking for that suspect this morning. The victim is being treated for non-life-threatening injuries now.
Witnesses say they saw multiple shell casings scattered across a road. Now, last night's shooting comes just 2 days after a man was injured in a shooting within the fairgrounds, prompting an evacuation. One woman is seriously injured and facing charges after police say she failed to yield at a stop sign in the Northern Valley. That's when she hit a pickup that was hauling a dump trailer. It happened yesterday afternoon at highways 15 and 32, just north of Annetta in Nelson County, North Dakota.
The troopers say the woman's car flipped onto its top. The pickup ended up in the ditch on its side. The 56-year-old Colorado woman who was driving that car is seriously hurt, as is a 29-year-old Larimore woman who was a passenger in the pickup that was hit. The pickup driver was not hurt.
6:02 on our Tuesday morning. Time now for a look at our storm team forecast. Good morning, Lisa Green.
Good morning. We are just now starting to see a little bit of light out to the north and east as the sun's getting ready to rise. It's happening closer and closer to that 7 o'clock hour now as we're seeing more signs of fall, including today's return to classes in Minnesota. So here's a look at how things are going to be out at the bus stop. We're dry. That's the great thing here. We've got temperatures into the 50s to some low 60s. Not too bad. It's comfortable here for this time of year. Fargo, Grand Forks, both at 62 degrees. Jamestown's a cooler 56, and so is Devil's Lake. Over into Detroit Lake, 63 degrees, and it's 57 in Bemidji here this morning to start off with some clear skies there. And the good news is we're looking at visibility, and for those of us on Minnesota side, we are looking at some good visibility reports up to 10 miles. That's what we want to see. But there are places where we are down, and Oaks has actually seen our visibility worsen a bit with a little fog there at 2 miles visibility. Gwinner's at 5 miles. Fargo, Grand Forks doing just fine. Candu's been fluctuating here. We've been around 0. We've improved. We would drop back down again, and now we're back up to a 1/4 mile visibility. So still on that very low end and seeing those numbers kind of go down a bit in Devil's Lake. So we're keeping an eye on some of those spots with some visibility down there. Otherwise, we are clear out there this morning. We just might have that milky sunrise again here for today with that overhead wildfire smoke moving through. So that will create, that orange glow on the horizon. I'm thinking we will see that start to improve as we go through the day, as we start to see the air clear out with that northerly wind that will be developing. So that's the difference between this morning and this afternoon here for the grade for your forecast for Mother Nature in Minnesota here. Here's a look at that first day of school planner in Detroit Lakes. We've got that morning wait out at the bus stop into the low 60s to some upper 50s with a couple of clouds. And again, a bit of a haze. That's why we've got an A-. It's not perfect, but our A coming this afternoon is looking pretty good. We're about 80 degrees, plenty of sunshine, warm out there, feeling more like summertime still here, even though we are starting to inch our way toward faller temperatures. Our average high for today in Fargo is 76 degrees. So that number's been coming down a little bit since the height of summer. And our temperature trend over the next 10 days shows us soaring well above that the next few days. It's going to be warm here, but then we really take a dip heading toward the weekend. We'll let you know what to expect as that is happening here through this week coming up. And we kind of regulate things a little bit toward the end of that stretch. So no huge swings later on, but right now this week's going to be up and down, and more on that to come here in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, that yellow bar getting pretty high up in that red color there.
Yeah, it's going to start to feel pretty warm, I think, in some areas. You know, we're talking not just 80s, maybe a couple of spots seeing 90 for the next couple of days.
Okay.
Well, a lot of that heat causing some issues across the region as well. Thank you for that report, Lisa. Today's heat closing the doors on some schools across the Northern Valley. Grand Forks is dismissing early at Lewis and Clark, Nathan Twining, Viking, and Wilder schools. Classes will let out at noon, and all elementary and middle school athletic activities are canceled.
Grand Forks High School will run as usual. District officials say they are working on a plan to install air conditioning in those schools. It will happen in the next 2 to 3 years. And last but not least, today is the day Minnesota students are heading back to the classroom, and what will that look like for them?
The Valley Today's Jillian Trudeau is joining us live with what's going on this morning. Good morning, Jillian.
Good morning, guys. That's right. I'm outside of Dilworth Elementary School, where students will be coming in for their first day of classes today, along with all of the Minnesota schools, except Moorhead. Because of the construction, they wanted to get a jump start on that. But this year will look more of a normal year in COVID-19 terms. Detroit Lakes has a COVID-19 safety protocol plan that parents will have an opportunity to do a survey on and kind of give their opinions on that. But Fergus Falls School District, they're having the typical, they recommend being fully vaccinated, and if you're not fully vaccinated, they recommend having face coverings, but there won't be any social distancing this year. So lunch will be in the cafeteria and the commons, but the cafeteria will actually, on that note, the school lunches will be a little bit more expensive this year just due to students having to pay for their school lunches like in pre-pandemic. So, but the school is actually substantially having to pay more for their food, so that will also be on the students and parents this year. So just keep that in mind, and happy first day.
Well, I guess summer is officially over across our viewing area. Thank you so much for that live report, Jillian. President Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness program could relieve debt for millions of Americans, but in some states like Minnesota, they could be considered taxable income. In Minnesota, that money could be added to your regular income, and borrowers could face a tax bill of more than $950 for $10,000 in relief.
Experts say it is still better than paying $10,000 to $20,000 though on those student loans.
It does make sense because money in general is taxed no matter how you get it.
The $10,000 doesn't appear in your bank account. It's an amount you don't have to pay back over a course of years.
Some Minnesota lawmakers and Governor Tim Walz say they support creating a way to make student loans exempt from those state taxes. Jury selection gets underway today in the trial of a man accused of stabbing a Fargo teenager to death last year. 24-year-old Arthur Cawley is charged with murder, robbery, and aggravated assault. He is accused in the deadly attack on 14-year-old Jupiter Polson near the Party City store.
A former Valley City coach is heading to court today on computer luring charges. 64-year-old Davey Zink is accused of solicitation and trying to lure minors in by the use of a computer. Court documents allege the incident happened in 2019 while he was employed within the district as a part-time coach. Friends and family will gather in a few hours to say goodbye to 2 of 4 victims of a murder-suicide in North Dakota.
The funeral for Justin and Richard Brocken is today at 10:30 this morning at Leeds Lutheran Church. Visitation is 1 hour before the funeral, also at the church. The funeral will be live streamed through the Nelson Funeral Home Facebook page. Arrangements for Douglas Dulmage of Leeds and Robert Brocken of Candu have not yet been announced. The 4 men were found dead last Monday in a wheat field in Towner County. Police have not yet said who that shooter was. The Minnesota State Patrol is now identifying 2 people killed in a crash in Crookston. They're 35-year-old Antoinette Anderson and 33-year-old Chance Bradley, both of Grand Forks.
They died in a crash on Highway 2 just after 11:30 Friday night. Troopers say their car left the road and then hit a tree. Still to come this Tuesday morning, California starting the trend in your child's school district, maybe next, to delay the start time of classes.
And speaking of that, first day of school for a lot of Minnesota students, Lisa Green has your bus stop forecast.